Imagine trying to organize like a massive month-long family reunion, but not just any reunion, one where the family members live in three completely different households, and each house has its own strict set of rules.
Mm.
Oh, and you're inviting billions of people over to watch.
Yeah, that sounds like an absolute nightmare, honestly. I mean, jumping from 32 teams up to 48 means they're cramming 104 matches into a single tournament window.
Which is just insane to think about.
Right. It's a logistical puzzle so massive that the US, Canada, and Mexico, well, they really had no choice but to co-host.
Exactly. And welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Unpacking this 2026 World Cup means we really need to look past the surface. So, using the source material we've gathered, from branding strategies to the raw geopolitical data, our mission today is to figure out if this unprecedented three-nation experiment is going to unite North America or fracture it.
Because when this event spans three distinct borders, you're dealing with three very distinct national identities. The organizers face this monumental challenge of, how do you pitch that to the world as one cohesive event?
Right. And visually, they went with something called the Wear 26 campaign. And what stood out to me from the sources is that for the first time since 1990, they completely dropped the words World Cup from the main logo.
Yeah, they really took a risk there.
They did. Instead, they're relying purely on the image of the iconic trophy, just layered over these modular designs. But, I mean, how does a modular design actually create unity?
So think of it like a unified picture frame holding different photos. The trophy basically acts as the frame, but each of the 16 host cities gets to swap in their own local art and colors behind it.
Oh, it's actually pretty clever.
It really is. It creates a cohesive template that still allows a place like, say, Miami or Mexico City to project its own unique cultural identity.
So it projects this beautiful unified front. But honestly, when you look at the reality on the ground,
The unity looks incredibly fragile.
exactly. I mean, the geopolitical friction is very real right now. You've got ongoing trade tariffs, vastly different immigration policies, and even structural clashes in the sports themselves. Like, take Major League Soccer and Mexico's Liga MX. Our sources note they have entirely different ethics and transparency protocols.
Yeah, that is a huge sticking point behind the scenes. Because MLS operates with these centralized, highly regulated financial transparency rules, whereas Liga MX historically functions more as a coalition of independent and sometimes pretty opaque club
Which
owners.
sounds like a logistical headache.
Oh, absolutely. When you try to align those two totally different systems to host side-by-side matches and manage cross-border revenue, you hit an administrative wall pretty fast.
So I have to challenge the whole premise here. Can a clever modular logo and a bit of sports diplomacy actually gloss over these deep political fractures? Especially when, according to the reports, you have the U.S. president publicly stating that cross-border hostilities might actually make the tournament more exciting.
Well, research on these mega events shows they definitely don't magically guarantee regional integration. That's a myth.
Right. It's not a magic wand.
Exactly. They merely open a conditional window for cooperation. Actually, succeeding at that requires genuine political will from all three governments, not just brilliant marketing.
But it's not just politicians feeling the friction of these birders, right? It's trickling all the way down to local citizens who are just, trying to celebrate the games. There's this fascinating collaboration happening right now between three independent craft breweries, one in the U.S., one in Canada, and one in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, the common ground beer.
Yes. They teamed up to brew a shared beer for the tournament.
It's a dry-hopped Mexican lager, right?
Yeah.
I read that they all use the exact same recipe, but each brewery handles its own local packaging. I mean, it's such a tangible grassroots microcosm of what the tournament is actually trying to do.
It is, but, even a simple beer can't escape international politics. The U.S. brewer is feeling the friction firsthand because they're getting hit with a 15% tariff on the European hops required for that shared recipe.
And that political friction, like making a local fan's beer more expensive, is such a perfect parallel for the wider fan experience right now, because the everyday supporter is slowly being priced out.
Totally. The event is shifting away from this accessible local ritual into a highly monetized premium entertainment product. I mean, FIFA is even utilizing dynamic ticket pricing for the first time in 2026.
Which is wild.
Right. The commercial scale is staggering, but it risks alienating the everyday supporters who give the sport its cultural power in the first place.
So for everyone listening, when you watch these games in 2026, you aren't just watching soccer. You're watching a live laboratory for cross-border governance. Every single match is a stress test of how well three very different nations can share power, money, and logistics.
which makes the corporate side of this even more critical to watch. Because alongside all that intense commercialization, there is a new administrative hurdle. For the first time ever, prospective host cities were actually required to submit human rights due diligence reports just to bid for matches.
That is a massive shift for global sports infrastructure.
It really is.
No.
Which leaves you all with something to really mull over as the tournament eventually kicks off. With all this money on the line, will this new requirement actually force global sports to enforce real human rights standards? Or, will it just become another layer of symbolic branding, like slapping a unified logo on a fractured family reunion?